Screens, there we go, situated. Hope everyone's doing well out there. And I gotta say, I guess this election is more conclusive than we might have been concerned about. So, yeah, I guess in one way, whether politics aside, whatever your choice is, at least it seems conclusive. So we don't have to go through any mud dragging and challenges and difficulties and all that kind of stuff. So at least we got that. As in the market, well, the market fucking loves it. So that's the other thing. It's like, all right, let's go for it. A lot of people will probably point to yesterday with that move up in the market as the signal that Trump was going to win. That might very well be the case, but we can also point towards just the technicals. So yesterday, we bounced off of the daily 50, and there was a pretty good gap between price and the hourly 50. And I wasn't necessarily expecting it yesterday, but over the, I don't know, a few days ago, so I guess last week, I had posted to the Moxie group, the Moxie traders, and I said, hey, at some point, I do think we're going to get a move to the upside because of the gap between price and the hourly 50. And that happened to be yesterday. So then we have all this, and I just didn't want to predict anything or say anything from yesterday because, well, we had the election today, and anything could have happened. And so where I left off all of you in the Moxie room was that if the market wants to go up, then we're going to look back and say, yeah, there was a nice bounce off of the hourly 50, and basically it just goes up. If the market wanted to go down, then this was a temporary bounce off the daily 50. It was going to run into the hourly 50. We were going to pull back into the 15-minute 50, and then we might go lower. Given that there was such a big news event, basically, the technicals can be a little bit sketchy on something like this. And so, looking back at it, hindsight, you're like, oh, yeah, well, that totally makes sense. But in the moment, you're like, big news can really change any of this, and these are really just lines on a chart, and they don't always matter that way. So I was happy to just not do any kind of trades overnight, just with that risk, basically. That being said, we have quite a few names on, and we've held those names on because the market is bullish. It's a very bullish market, and I figured, whatever kind of turbulence we get with the election, I figured at some point we were going to continue going higher, and I guess we have just that answer right here, right now. And as I said, the one thing leading up to the election that I was kind of wondering about, because I thought this was going to show up sooner than it actually did, but I was like, okay, when is the market going to chill? When is this thing going to pull back? When are traders going to take their chips off the table? And when are we going to start seeing some okay, we've got some big news coming up. Well, let's kind of pull back a little bit. And as I said, it took a while for the SPX to recognize this, for it to show up here. But it finally happened. One, when we broke the hourly 50 and headed to the daily 21. And then two, when we broke down to the daily 50. That was the pullback. And you can see that we've had a pretty good run in through here. And you can see we put in a gap between price and the daily 50. Price doesn't like to be away from its moving averages, or too far from its moving averages, for too long. And so that's why having this pullback right here was actually pretty nice. So that helps set everything up. You can kind of see the same thing here. There's the 50, big gap, finally back to the 50. There's a gap back to the 50. Basically when price gets too far away, it wants to come back. We can also look at the RSP, which is the equal weight of the S&P. And we could see that this thing started pulling back actually a couple weeks before the SPX. So right here, when we started to break down below the hourly 50, and then right here when we flagged into the hourly 50, and again getting down to the daily 50. So that all kind of makes sense. And then if we look at the internals, leading up to the election, I was like, all right, this market is very bullish, but there's no way they can keep doing this right up into the election. I was like, when is this stuff going to start pulling back? When are we going to start getting some breathing room? And you can see here, this is the number of stocks over their 50-day SMA. And you can see here is where, we kept bumping up around 80%. That's about the top. And then we finally started to break down. And I put on these lines and I said, hey, we are making lower lows at this point. So yes, there are pullbacks happening. We need to be careful. But eventually this will be good. It it'll provide opportunities, and that's where I left off because I said, hey, we got the election coming up. Now, yesterday when I was with you and you guys in the Moxie room, I started pointing this out, and I said, hey, looks to me like the internals, the breadth, the 50-day breadth, started to slow down and could possibly be turning up. I should have actually looked at this at the end of the day yesterday, because you can see we had a nice little turn up like that, and then today we've got this nice big move here. So most likely, and obviously with the market, the S&P making new all-time highs here, we're bullish again. So we're back on track, and I'm very happy that we got this. We at least provided room and opportunity to then go, have the market refresh itself and renew itself, and that's because a number of stocks got below their 50-day SMA. So this is giving stuff. Yeah, Loco no Joko, man. Good to see you. Yeah, I haven't heard from you for a while. Now, that being said, not everything is happy. So I guess we got to think, okay, Trump trades, right? So what is good for, what is Trump good for, and what is Trump bad for? I guess I wasn't too surprised about this, but cannabis, not good. Trump is apparently not good for cannabis, or at least maybe the Democrats are better for cannabis. And so because they didn't win, cannabis is just getting yanked. So CGC, just going nowhere. Just cannabis as a whole. You can look at MJ, which is the ETF. Yeah, just absolutely tanked. So bad cannabis. And then solar. Solar is not super happy, but solar has been pretty crappy for a long time. So it's not happy. You can look here through TAN, and then I guess I've been even here to a lot of people talk about First LR, First Solar, but it hasn't been happy for a long time. So solar's not happy. But what is happy, because I started going through my list today, oil, energy, go figure. Probably anything, drillers, anything related probably to oil industry is going to be good and strong. Caterpillar is strong. Makes sense. Probably going to be building a lot of things. And then transportation, JBH, ALSN, Allison Transmissions, right? Trucks. Think trucking, think shipping, ODFL, MGY, GXO, all these areas. ODFL. There you go. There's shipping and stuff. JBH. Well, whenever the Thinkorswim's having a hard time today, because when there's this much activity, Thinkorswim kind of starts to struggle. Let's see, MGY. Yeah, so here's oil and gas. You can see it's probably going to be going up. And then ALSN, Allison Transmissions, but it's been doing well for a while. So yeah, I just think trucking, shipping, CEIX, coal, I guess think of coal and those things. So it's doing well. Those are, Tommy Boy, that's right. Weed legalization measured failed in Florida. I did hear about that. Okay. So maybe it's less about Trump. Maybe it's more about those initiatives failed. Okay. That's probably a little bit more. Let's talk about financials. XLF. Now, what was interesting is 2 days ago, financials and the Dow were really getting hit, and that is what dropped the S&P. The rest of the market wasn't doing too much. In fact, I think the IWM was up, but financials were kind of getting hammered. But look at what they did. I mean, now they're doing great. So here it is, basically a pullback into the daily 50. So this is XLF. It's been doing great for a while, and now we're gapping up. So continues to be great and continues to be good. And yeah, most of the financials that I was looking at, like look at banks, all those are good. KRE, we are in this. We have been in this for a while. We first got in here like right at the lows, right there, and then we got it back in here. So I would just say that we perfectly traded this. This has just been fantastic because we first got in here, and we got out here, and then we got in here, and now it's up. So yeah, I'm very, very happy about this one. We are actually in the leveraged ETF of KRE, which is the regional banks, and it's called DPST. So Loco no Joko, there you go. This is what we were doing. And I have been telling everybody, anybody who's been listening to me, right here, I said, that looks like a good bull flag. Okay. We went through a lot of this kind of thing, and then suddenly you get that. very, very clear, very obvious. And now that's looking fantastic. And so if we come over to the monthly and weekly, same kind of deal. I mean, it was a nice flag right there. And you could see here just pop. So yeah, what else do you want to know about that? We're in it. We're doing well. I have one position with DPST that I've kept just kind of an overall position. I went through, I wrote out all of that chop, and it's up something like 52%. So, yeah, I think with that, if you look at DPST, so from like the original entry, I think it's all the way back down here. That's 100. So where was the 50%? Maybe I got in down here. Yeah, there. So about there. I think I got in originally from here and just hung on to it on one position. So, up 50% or more on that one. Yeah, exactly. Looking at Joko. Glad you're in that thing too. Huge volume. So yeah, DPST, carry, banks, XLF, financials. What AXP is that? American Express. I mean, look, they've been doing great already. So yeah. Yeah, B1. We'll talk about so DJT. There are two things I'll say about this. One, this practically did a 50, 200, 50 maneuver. Okay, so it may not come down to the 50. This might only come down to the daily 21, which was right there, but basically 50, 250. So that's a nice pullback. The other thing is that looking yesterday, and I know, yeah, as you said, this is kind of a meme stock. But yesterday, there were some really good pretty technicals again. Look at price yesterday, got rejected by the hourly 50. And on the 15-minute time frame, that was a 50, 250 maneuver. That's pretty perfect. Amazingly, that's perfect. I'm a little surprised at how contained this is today. Like it definitely jumped up and then came back down. I'm surprised it's not just through the roof. But I would say that if you are interested in doing something like this, it would be great if the daily 21 held. And I would be looking at this, basically the 15-minute 50. If that can hold right here, then that's going to be a fantastic entry. So we don't know if there's more downside. I would be hard pressed to think that there's going to be more downside. Maybe there's more chop, but this would be ideal if it can hold in there and you have the hourly, the 8 over the 21. And if it can get back over the hourly 50, that would be good too. And I'm sure the Moxie indicator is going to go green over 0 pretty soon too. So yeah, if you guys want to trade DJT, then yeah, it's looking fine. And I would imagine it's going to keep going higher. So, and if you look at the weekly and monthly, like again, this also looks good. A crap ton of volume coming into this thing. You got the 8 crossing over the 21. You've got a squeeze. The Moxie indicator is going to fire soon. It's like, yeah, that looks like it's ready to go. So yeah, if he's going to be president, wouldn't you think DJT is probably going to keep going up? That would be my thought. All right, let's see. What are my thoughts on the sustainability of the move? Let's talk about the Fed is thinking tomorrow. What do you think the possibilities are, and how do you feel about the market will react? Sustainability of this move and the position of the markets as a whole. Yeah, I kind of covered that in the beginning. So we do have FOMC tomorrow, and they should be cutting rates by 25 basis points. That's pretty much baked in. They've said it, and they're going to cut another 25 basis points next meeting too. So that should help grease the market. Okay, this is part of why things are doing well. This is why the market is bullish, because we are in a rate cutting cycle, and that's why the banks are doing well. That's just generally why things are doing well. Now we have Trump elected. At least we know who the president is, and there are certain areas that are going to enjoy that, and there are certain areas that are not. Okay. We might need to be careful about Chinese names because Trump is going to be all about tariffs, and so we're going to be starting that whole tariff war situation again. So I'm wondering about chips, like semiconductors. I don't know. Nvidia, of course, is doing fine, but if I look at SMH, it's up, it's okay, but I'm just kind of wondering about semiconductors and chips because of tariffs and some of these economic battles that we might be doing. So just kind of think about that and see because now we know who the administration is. Okay. Now we need to think about what are they about? What are their goals? What are they going to do? And how is that going to affect things? Gosh, I mean, maybe if you think about win. You think about gambling, you think about Macau, you think about China, and you think about those things. Is that let's see, FX, FCX, FXI. There we go. Trying to think about copper and all that stuff. So we have to think, okay, what are his policies going to do, and who's going to benefit, and maybe we need to be careful about Chinese stocks. That's something to think about. As far as the sustainability of the move, I think the sustainability of this move is a yes. We'll have to be careful about the exact day to day, but we built some room underneath. We saw the number of stocks over their 50-day SMA come down to about 48%. We saw the number of stocks over their 20-day SMA come down to about 30%. So there's definitely room. Okay, this pullback over the last 2 or 3 weeks really did provide liquidity. Okay, so at least from internals, we've got plenty of dry powder. Okay, we really do have plenty of dry powder. As far as the market goes, we just tapped the daily 50. I think that looks fine. If we look at the NASDAQ, come on, think or swim. Give me a moment. If we look at NASDAQ, whenever that loads, it's been flagging. It has not broken out. I don't know if it has today. Maybe it's making new highs right now. But up until the last for the last month or so, since that yen carry trade unwinding, that was a lot of liquidity that got created too, and it pulled back, and it's been flagging and moving up. Like, we're in FNGU, which is the leverage ETF of the FANG stocks, and I told my subscribers, I said, hey, I think this is going to go higher into the future, but I think right now we're probably going to see some sideways going into the election, because they're just going to hold it down. Come on, Thinkorswim, you can do it. Sorry, guys. Just there we go. I'm getting a Thinkorswim broken situation. All right, let's go look at NDX. Yeah, so there's plenty of room. You look at the NASDAQ, and lots of liquidity was created there. You had your double bottom, and then you're right here flagging. This has plenty of room. And if we look at the monthly and weekly, the weekly has lots of room up to its third ATR. Now, the monthly happens to kind of be at it, but it can kind of keep just running that direction. But we have lots of room. Yeah, I don't see any issues with this thing being overdone, too hot, anything like that. The last 3 weeks actually provided a fair amount of liquidity and fresh dry powder for the market. So, yeah, like, let's go. I don't see any problems. Just make sure you're in the right stocks. Tesla, Elon is kind of tied to Trump now, so Tesla is doing well today. We're in it. We've been in it. We're hanging on to this thing, because I think this is, looking at a monthly and weekly time frame, Tesla is doing great. I think that this is on a longer term trend. I mean, look at this weekly chart. This looks great. So we're in it. We've been in it, and we're going to continue being in it. Yeah, Loco no Joke. We'll start seeing what kind of tweets we get from Trump. Although he has his Truth Social, so I don't know. We are literally making history, and we are living through history, because again, Trump is his own character. All the legal stuff, the whole, can he be president again? I guess he can. And I don't think, I mean, right? We've never had a president with a president in between. It's either back to back, or they have one term. Like, this is new. So we're all going to be living through interesting times coming up. And you know what? Hey, for the stock market, it's great. So let's just make money and have a good time with it. You can talk politics for other things and whatnot. But yeah. Oh, Grover Cleveland. So, okay, I guess that isn't too new. But there are definitely some uncharted territories with what's happening with Trump. Okay. All right, what do I make about the TNX CGI? Yeah, well, I know precious metals got hit. The dollar's up, and interest rates are doing their thing. Let me see. I had my buddy who kind of knows some of this a little bit more. Let's see. What was yeah, let me see what he was saying. I think he was just saying, like, yeah, but yeah, dollar up huge, bonds getting crushed, so rates are up big. I don't necessarily know what to make of all this. I think I've heard the idea is that either Trump or, some of this stuff is going to be inflationary. I think from what I've heard around that, doing stuff like this and doing whatever, spurring the economy is going to be inflationary. So the bond market, from my understanding, is kind of saying that they are expecting inflation to come back a little bit, and um, we're in a way we might have to inflate our way out of the out of our debt situation. And so that's kind of the thing. I think that's my understanding as far as what's going on with bonds and interest rates and inflation. So yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, growth is kind of inflationary. Yeah, Tommy boy, I did look at DXYZ this morning. DXYZ. Yeah, I saw that. And of course, Elon, SpaceX, yeah. So yeah, if this might be a good one. Maybe you're chasing a little bit, but if you have like a long term goal for this, then this might be it. This might finally be the thing that gets DXYZ going, because it's been kind of, well, obviously really flat for a very long time. So yeah, we'll have to just see if you want to trade this, if this is going to be finally it. I will say that yesterday it gave just inkling of an entry, because you can see there's your double bottom, there's price over the hourly 50, and we almost got a Moxie price trigger. But if you look at the daily, not too shabby. I think I talked about this before. You can see here, see how price was going. Let me actually just draw a line, because that's going to be really clean. I mean, look at that. How is that for a back test of support? So resistance, break out past resistance, come back and test resistance for support. That is a fantastic, absolutely fantastic technical situation. I just wasn't going to do anything before the election. So yeah, that might be something. So if you guys are interested in DXYZ, which again has exposure to SpaceX, then there you go. There's your name. Let's see, FCX. I've been watching copper. Oh, good, it's up. I was a little surprised with this too. So silver and gold were down, and gold miners were down a lot today. And I was looking at FCX and copper, and it was down. I was like, huh, that's kind of surprising. I was like, well, maybe it's a commodity, maybe it's with the kind of precious metals, and maybe it's getting hit for that reason. But then I was like, copper, but Trump and growth and economics and building, copper should be good. And I'm happy to see that copper's come back. This is probably the buy. Like this buyable dip, this dip that came down, did a double bottom and came up. This is probably the signal. I'll just put that out there. Moxie Group, I'll talk to you guys a little bit later, but I have a feeling that's the signal. And then for those of you out there on the interwebs, do you guys see the same technical setup that I just showed you on DXYZ on the daily chart? You're seeing the same thing on FCX on the monthly chart. So resistance, break out, pull back to test what used to be resistance as support. That is another good technical thing. That's why I'm like, on a monthly time frame, this thing looks ready to rock. Okay, so do whatever you need to do. But I think copper is probably going to keep going up. Nasir, that would be interesting. So yeah, Musk is now going to be Doge, Department of Government Efficiency. So that's going to be interesting. But yeah, you think they're going to absorb NASA? It could be interesting. And Darren, yeah, so if you're looking at ITB, I was looking at Nail, I was looking at home builders. Yes, home builders are down. And I think, this is my guess, but home builders and stuff related to housing is down. And I think that's because even though interest rates are getting cut, I think inflation is going to be coming back, and maybe there's something to, like, interest rates, right? Interest rates are actually up, even though the Fed has cut rates. So there might be something like that. The longer yield curve. Yeah, but I saw the FNMA was up. I know there's a lot of stuff going on here. So that's kind of my thought about housing. But FNMA is definitely up. I saw that one too. So look, guys, new administration, lots of moving parts. If you guys remember back in 2020, when Biden got elected, it was November 7th that everything went through the roof, and it's because we knew what the new administration was about, and they're like, cool, let's front run everything they're about. So you just need to think, what is the Trump administration about, and where are they going to, put their effort and emphasis behind? That's the kind of thing we need to think about. All right, so let me keep checking on. So B1, don't forget, if Republicans officially take the House, this will be a rare situation where the same party is in control of the White House, Senate, House, and Supreme Court. No gridlock whatsoever. Yeah, I've actually heard that sometimes that's really bad when you have no guardrails, basically, and nobody to kind of hold you back. So I am a little bit concerned. I'm a little bit concerned about they have, yeah, exactly. People don't like having all one party. I'm a little concerned about that. So yeah, you did need somebody to kind of slow things down, to slow government down, because it's it's not just about that. How do I put this? The government, the markets like when the government doesn't move too fast, because if the government is all one party, they can change laws and rules and regulations, and sometimes that happens too fast for the market and for companies, and they don't like all the change. Like, it's almost unpredictable when everything can change. When you have gridlock is predictable, and so that's why the market tends to like having, you know House at one thing and Senate one thing, and then the president another thing, and you got some, things won't be changing too much. So does that make sense for you guys? So yeah, yeah. And then my buddy even told me that he might even get one more Supreme Court justice, because what's his was it? Oh, what was his name? Uh, Thomas, I guess, might be wanting to retire. So yeah, it'd be interesting. Buddy, I don't know. This is going to be very interesting because, again, I'm not trying to be political on one side or the other. I'm just trying to talk about facts of what's happened. We know last time that the Democrats were trying to impeach Trump like since day one. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens politically now that he's back in office again. Are they going to just, be flipping out again and trying to get him for anything and everything again? Is this going to be a thing, or are they going to kind of like let him go, or just do his thing? Like, I don't know. Like, we are really witnessing history here, and there's a whole lot of like, whatever the next 4 years is going to be like, and how is everybody going to handle it? So yeah, hang on to your hats. Um, so anyway, yeah, we're having a good time. Most of our, I think everything of our names are up. I mean, I can just keep going through this stuff, but everything is up, and we jumped back on Irene, and it's up. So happy about that. Soundhound is also up. We could probably get back in on that if you guys wanted. HNST is up, so that's looking good. Yeah, it's just it's great. It's great. Everything's good. Everything's happy. So yeah, but yeah, oh yeah, that's the right thing. I wanted to show you guys IWM. Like, what more of a sign or a signal do you need to say that this market is ready to go and risk on? Like, risk on, baby. And we've been talking about this, guys. How many times have I covered this? And on the monthly chart, I said, look, the IWM is definitely going to go up at some point. It is clearly in a bull flag. And you can see here, I have this red line that I've drawn for years, if not, years. And that was the previous high. And you can see it just stopped right at it. And look, we're breaking out. Okay. Like, go, go, go. Go is what we're basically seeing from the small caps. They're finally breaking out just perfectly. I mean, really, you can see there was a perfect line here, and now we're breaking out. So yeah, now maybe day to day, if you're trying to catch a day trade or something like that, sure, there might be some pullbacks. The market's jumped up. It's there will probably be a pullback at some point, because you can't always just do a gap and go. You can do it for a while, like we kind of saw back here when the conversation of interest rates, but eventually you're going to slow down, you're going to pull back, and you find your opportunities. If you want to jump on this today, great. Maybe it'll keep pushing up for the next few days, but you just need to expect that there will be a pullback at some point, and just kind of find your opportunities. Just find your opportunities. Maybe. You said tomorrow might be a better day for buying. Maybe. It's basically there are two things. I kind of think that there could be two things. Either you buy today and the market was going to keep pushing up for the next few days, and eventually when there is a pullback, the pullback will still be higher than whatever today's price is, or over the next few days, this is kind of like the sugar high, and they are going to kind of bring things back down, and then you can catch the low and then go up. It's kind of hard to say. We look at Shake Shack, and Shake Shack didn't really pull back. It went sideways and up. So that's like, oh man, I should have bought some options on this thing yesterday, but I really just didn't want to do anything going into the election. But yeah, Shake Shack. So it might be a while until we finally see a decent pullback on something like Shake Shack. We talked about Deckers. If you are interested in Deckers, this is probably a great spot to get in Deckers. I mean, there's your pullback. It had a gap up on earnings. It pulled back. This is probably the best place to add to Deckers if you want to be in Deckers. And if we look at, what was the other one that jumped up? Reddit. Yeah, Reddit keeps running, but it's still pretty darn stretched. So I really wouldn't want to be adding to it here. There will be opportunities at some point. I don't think, Powell might throw some cold water just to kind of temper some stuff, but I also think he has to cut 25 basis points. He pretty much told everybody he's going to do it. And so, yeah, I guess that's another little wrinkle that we might be seeing tomorrow with the FOMC. Okay. So, yeah, make hay while the sun shines. So for those of you on the social medias and everything out there, come on over to the Moxie Room. I'm telling you, we made millions, or I did, during 2020, and I feel like we're getting some similar vibes. So this is going to be big. Okay, the IWM is getting in gear. It's been getting in gear for a while. We have interest rates coming down. We now have the president. That's now passed. This is the time. This is the time to come in if you want to do some stock trading and ride this market. I'm kind of surprised that more people are not coming into the market with the market at all-time highs and all this stuff, but it's good for us. We're already in, like we are already traders. We're already doing the thing. We've been watching the market go up since 2023. And eventually, I think that the rest of the population will start hearing, okay, Trump's in, good for the economy, good for stocks. The stocks are making new all-time highs. We're going to get more and more people coming in off of the sidelines, and this is going to keep propelling the market. Interest rates coming down, and I think that the lag, like we're seeing as a business, like why there aren't more of you guys, more subscribers and more traders coming, is because I imagine that the economy out there is a little tough, and with interest rates high, I think people have been looking at they need every dollar to be spent in their life as opposed to risking it with investments and trading. But I have a feeling that that might be changing because it's going to be hard for people to sit on the sidelines when they keep seeing the market just go up, 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 up. So we, as traders and as a business and subscribers and simpler trading, I have a feeling we're going to start seeing more people come in off the sidelines. So that's good for us because we've been in on the ground floor on all these things. I mean, Reddit, how much are we up on Reddit? Are we up like 115%? Yeah, like 110% basically that we're up on Reddit. So yeah. No, Nasir, we don't need to go through a pandemic to get by the dips. Nope, 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 nope. We're in a normal market. We're just in a very strong bullish market. But no, we don't need to we don't need that kind of dip, okay? We just got a dip from the last 3 weeks, okay? If you want to see what a buy the dip looks like, look at the RSP. There was your dip. Look at the 58-day breadth. That was your dip. We have 48% of stocks that were now below their 50-day SMA. That was your dip. Okay. So yeah, Moxie Group, I'm going to be back on the mic with you guys and in the central room. And yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, Wolf, Irene, yep. The crypto, Bitcoin, Trump, he's very supportive of them. So get on the crypto train. Okay, guys. So I'll be back with you all in a little bit.